man has been held in a Canadian maximum security prison for 6 years. No one knows who he is and he refuses to give his identity. This story has been in my national media this week and has been sticking in the back of my mind. I hadn't heard of the case before this week, so apologies if this has been discussed previously. First post here as well. In Toronto in 2013, a man was arrested for committing over $400,000 in fraud. He claimed to be Herman Emmanuel Fancam, a French national living in Montreal. However, when the Canadian authorities contacted authorities in that country, French law enforcement claimed that his passport was a forgery and they had no record of him either. Further investigations spanning 11 countries have uncovered other instances of this man appearing in several countries over the years. Before his arrest in Toronto, under several more aliases but no confirmation of his real identity. The man has been completely uncooperative up to apparently being hostile with investigators and prison authorities and refuses to answer any questions about his identity or past. Without being able to identify him or even his nationality, Canadian Border Services is unable to deport him, essentially leaving him in limbo in a max security prison. The man had been scheduled to testify publicly on this Wednesday, May 15, 2019, before the Immigration and Refugee Board, but at the last minute it was made to be a private hearing with no media or public allowed. However, under Canadian law, any of these hearings are to take place in public unless under extraordinary circumstances. Most of this information is from this article in the National Post. Link. What do you guys think? I was further intrigued by what the circumstances could be that would result in his hearing being moved to behind closed doors, especially given the usual transparency of these hearings under Canadian immigration law. My first assumption is that he might be from a country where deportation would result in danger to himself, such as possibly facing prosecution for crimes or political reasons. This would have to be more than he could be expected to face at a Canadian prison, where he might not be comfortable, but at least he is provided for. But to be clear, even here maximum security facilities are not places most would want to be. And let alone for 6 years with no real end in sight.
My first reaction is that whatever he's trying to get away from is worse than maximum security prison. And he probably won't be talking about what it is.
This guy is either guilty of something somewhere where the punishment is death, or he works for some very secret players in the world.
If he is known to have appeared under other aliases in other countries and has enough dedication to not crack after 6 years, it sounds to me like he might be involved in espionage of some sort. There might be sensitive national security issues at stake if they're keeping his hearing away from the public.
Well, the 3 possible reasons listed for having a private hearing are 1. A serious possibility that the life, liberty, or security of a person will be endangered if the proceeding is held in public. 2. A real and substantial risk to the fairness of the proceeding such that the need to prevent disclosure outweighs the societal interest that the proceeding be conducted in public. Or 3. A real and substantial risk that matters involving public security will be disclosed, and the reason they gave for having this hearing in private is number 2. That one seems to the most vague, and I'm not really sure what would be considered a risk to the fairness by having it public.
His accent and vocabulary may help identify his origins. French is probably his mother tongue. A linguist specialized in the different French variants could help.
If you read the article that you linked, there is a fair bit of evidence already figured out in terms of his past as a conman, and it's even enough evidence to apparently discern that he is likely from Cameroon originally.
My bet is simply that he has been a criminal his whole life, starting out in the drug trade in Cameroon, but realized he was a good conman too and probably double-crossed or conned some very dangerous people in Cameroon before fleeing the country and winding up in France and continuing to play the con game as he hopped from country to country. If he admits who he is, not only does he end up giving away more of his criminal history, but deportation likely means being put into a situation where he is a dead man walking, as corruption in his home country or area provides an easy path to him for those who likely want him dead. Pride and fear drive him, but he may wear down in the end.
Who do you think this man could be? Why would he be hiding his identity? Tell me your opinion in the comments below. Thank you for listening. You can find the original post in the link in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to get more puzzling mysteries.